So we've just turned the air pump on this tank, and it has heaps of oxygen. Because the tank's very high and it's not so wide, it's really important that we have very good oxygen in this tank, because it will tend to run with a lower dissolved oxygen level because of the surface area to volume ratio. So what we have here is a line that goes to the filter, and then one from the filter back to the aquarium again. Now, whenever you do anything with the filter, it's very important that you close the outlet and then you open the inlet first. And what that's going to do is allow the air to get blown out, because you don't want an air bubble in the system. So once you've left that open for a while, a minute at least, you then can open the outlet. And what we're hoping that will do is cause any backflush of air to push any water out. The pump is set low, which means there should be less issues with getting an air bubble. But you really don't want an air bubble on the pump, or it will not run. We also have a backwash here. So when you go to service this pump, all we do is switch this here to backwash. We then open this. So if we switch the backwash on, like that, the water will start coming out. Like this. The water's coming out. I pump on this and all the dirt will come out. And then when that water comes out clean, it means the filter's clean. So you pump on this until the water's clean, then the filter's clean. So how often you do that will govern how many fish you've got in the tank, and the quality of the food you feed. If you feed low quality food, you'll find the filter will get dirtier more often. If you feed high quality food, you'll find your fish are healthier, and you'll find that the filter doesn't need cleaning anywhere near as often. And this is about the easiest filter on the market to clean. You literally just open that up, pump on the handle, make sure it comes out clean, close that, and turn it back on. Obviously, anytime you're playing with the filter, you should have the pump off. So once you've done that, we can turn the pump on. So we've got the heater there, we need to have set at 25 degrees. We have the air pump here, which is blowing a good amount of air into the aquarium. The way a fish tank works is you do something and you set it up and you really, really enjoy it. And no matter how good you make your tank, it's my belief that for about 1 year you love it.
And then you change things around here.
Exactly. And then 1 year you like it, and then you've seen it. So never say never. And let's say you don't have fake plants now. Enjoy it for a while without fake plants, then put fake plants in.
Yeah, I get it.
Because change is king. So the only other comment is the water flow here I'm very, very happy with. But if we can just put a 45-degree angle up and then angled to start getting a bit of kinetic energy. What's happening inside here is we're going to grow heaps of good bacteria. And this unit has got a 60-watt UV, so it's a very good UV sterilizer on it. So what we do not want to do is plug the UV in yet. For the first month, it's better to have the UV off, and that allows the good bacteria to really establish in the filter. Then after a month, we know there's lots of good bacteria in the filter. We then can turn the UV on, and the UV will help to sterilize the water to make sure that there's no algae spores or potential pathogens in the water. So we're setting the temperature at 25 and then backwashing the filter on a semi-regular basis to make sure that when you backwash it, the water's going to come out clean. And the more regularly that you backwash it, the more effective the filter's going to be. If you go months and months without backwashing it and it fills up with crap, then your water quality is massively going to deteriorate, because what will happen is you'll get all this bad bacteria forming, and that means that your dissolved oxygen level will drop and your redox potential will drop and everything will start to go south. So this filter is very, very easy to clean, but it must be done regularly. Now, once a year, you want to open the pump up and give the impeller a clean inside the pump. And then about once a year, you want to open up this unit and check the sponges. As far as that's concerned, you've got a barrel union here and a barrel union there that will allow you to do that. And about once a year, you want to replace the UV sterilizer tube. So we've got a little loop here, which tries to keep air bubbles out of the pump and the heater. And the heater can stay on all the time because that should be in water. If for some reason you're servicing the pump, then you definitely want to turn the heater off and the pumper off before you shut the valves to actually do any servicing. And definitely don't turn the heater off in summer, because the heater should only turn on if it is below what the thermostat's set for. So a heater heats, it is not cool. So if that's set for 25, this should not come on unless the tank is under 25. So you leave this on all the time, or unless we have to service the pump. To work out the literage of your aquarium, what you do is go length times height times width for inside dimensions. In centimeters divided by 1,000 will give you liters. Then we've got to treat the water. So we do need to get a thermometer in this aquarium just to double check the actual temperature. You never want to go off your heater and trust your heater. You want to use a thermometer. Okay, beautiful.
One outside, two inside,
Okay.
one inside.
Okay, so anyway, that's exactly what we need. Perfect. And so now the most important thing is we need to use a water ager. The water ager is going to take chlorine and chloramone and so forth out of the water. This must be added every single time that we put water in the tank. Top up water, water change water, every time. This has got to go in the tank. You can be a little bit generous with it, but there's no point majorly overdosing it, or it can raise your GH level. There's no major disadvantage with that. The next thing that we're going to add is a GH conditioning salt. This is going to add all of your minerals and your general hardeners, your salts, and things that are going to help the body slime of the fish and have a lot of benefits for the fish themselves. And it is very important that we make sure that our KH is not 0. So we do need to raise our carbonate hardness, and that's going to help our good bacteria and help stabilize our pH. Now that we've added our water ager, we've added a low dose of KH and a low dose of GH. I much rather underdose these and add it later than put too much in. So we can test it and add more if we need to. So now we're just going to wait for the temperature to get to 25 degrees. So once our thermometer is telling us it's 25, we then can add some fish. And the plan is to add a small amount of fish, then wait 1 or 2 weeks. Then you bring a little video of the tank running and a sample of water to Majestic Aquariums. Then we can recommend a small amount more fish. Then you wait another couple of weeks. Then you can add a small amount more fish. And you make sure that every single time that you buy fish, you're bringing a sample of water and a video, so we can make sure that everything's right before you actually take the fish. So fish keeping is 50% water quality, which we can test, and 50% nutrients. Most fish food is processed crap in a can. So you want to go for good quality foods like probiotics from New Life Spectrum, and then you want to go for slow cooked, holistic foods like Danichi. So a good quality food is half of fish keeping. So we can keep a track of your water quality. If you keep a track of your feeding, whenever you add new fish to the aquarium, it's good not to add any food for 2 days. Just let them scavenge. And then you've just got to be watching the bellies of the fish. And if you notice the belly's getting a little bit skinny, then you need to be feeding more. And if you notice the belly's getting a little bit fat, you need to be feeding less. And we normally recommend feeding about 5 times a week. So not quite what the fish eat every day, not quite what the fish eat in 30 seconds every day. And then if you miss a couple of times a week, then that's recommended. And when you're adding fish to the tank, try and stay away from any of your catfish until the tank is a little bit more established and there's a little bit for them to actually scavenge on. And as far as algae is concerned, the best way to combat algae is reduce light and increase catfish. And if you notice your skinny fish getting skinny and your big fish, so your little fish getting skinny and your big fish getting fat, then you need to vary the size of your pellet and probably add some smaller pellets. And if you notice your big fish getting skinny and your small fish getting fat, you need to vary the size of your pellets and increase the size of your pellet. So the quality of the food is everything, but also the size of the pellet is going to determine what fish are getting the most advantage from those, and also whether they float or sink. So some fish, if you notice the fish towards the top are getting skinny, you need to focus on a floaty pellet. If you notice the fish at the bottom are getting skinny, then you need to focus on a sinky pellet. So these are all just things to bear in mind. So now that once the temperature is 25 degrees and we've treated the water and the filters are all on, then we can add a small amount of fish. Then we wait a couple of weeks and then we look at adding some more.